We talk about the state of the outfield tonight on Htown Wheelhouse. Who's in, who's out, veterans versus young guns, and one free agent I would like to see the Astros go after. And how's Walker Yannick doing in the Arizona Fall League? Let's get started right now.
This is Walker Yannick. You're listening to the Locked On Astros podcast.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett Htown Wheelhouse Chansey.
Hey everybody, welcome into this edition of Locked On Astros. Make sure you make us your first listen every single day. Make sure you make Locked On MLB your second listen, where you can find MLB Game Night every night. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. And this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your first bet wins, you'll win $300 bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. Welcome in, y'all. I'm Htown Wheelhouse. I'm solo tonight. Eric took the reins last night. I'm taking the reins tonight. He talked about the bullpen. I'm going to talk about the outfield. Again, who's in and who's out, veterans versus young guns, and one free agent worth looking at in my book. And I really hope they do look at him. And I think there's a way to do that and get him over here, but we'll have to see. I do have to address the obvious elephant in the room, the Canadian elephant in the room. The Toronto Blue Jays, congratulations on winning Game 7 last night. It seems like the Mariners have at least former Astros keeping them out of the World Series. I know a lot of Astros fans were happy to see that. I had one friend that was actually pulling for the Mariners. He felt bad for them. He wanted them to go. But I have been with the Blue Jays this entire time, hoping that they go. I've got family members in Canada, and it was beautiful to see George Springer go out there and become and continue to be the Mr. October. I mean, his performance was absolutely legendary. And it's a sustained success in the playoffs, not just one playoff series or one great game. I will say this. I think, I was surprised that they didn't give him the MVP. Now, I know why they gave Vlad Guerrero the MVP is because Vlad Guerrero over the series was phenomenal. George Springer, just that monumental home run. You saw they gave Shohei the MVP in the NLCS when really he didn't wake up until that game offensively, but it was those 10 strikeouts that probably put the nail in the coffin for that. But we're not here to talk about Shohei Ohtani or even George Springer. We're here to talk about the Houston Astros and what is going on with their outfield situation in 2026. Now, I do know that we have some obvious, we know who's in and probably less knowing of who exactly is out. But let's look at these outfielders right now, and let's see what went on this last season. We know that we have some decently solidified defensive players, but one position in particular was the weakest. That was our left field position, okay? The left field position, because it was most notably covered by Jose Altuve, and it was more of a turnstile in left field. And so that didn't lend itself to consistency. That's where you had the negative defensive runs saved come from -4. But a more solid defensive alignment out there in the outfield, or the guys that were out there, and if Jake Myers could have kept from getting injured, he is one of your better center fielders position-wise, and keeping him full-time and maximizing his innings next year, I think will anchor the outfield along with Cam Smith, okay? So you had Cam Smith. You had Jake Myers. Jose Altuve, that's another story. But Cam Smith, we know, is a Gold Glove finalist this year, plus 4 runs defensive saved. Then you had Jake Myers out there. Noted that he at one point had a plus 2.3 defensive rating. He is above average outfield defense, and we know that. We know that he is. And he goes out there every year, and he just simply delivers. Okay. So what is the state of the outfield? The state of the outfield of who's in and who's out, I think almost inevitably, guys like Chas McCormick, guys like Jesus Sanchez are more than likely on the outside looking in. Jesus Sanchez actually is probably not going to get, he's probably going to get non-tendered, probably not going to be offered a deal. I don't think he did enough to stay around. So I think Jesus Sanchez is out. I think Chas McCormick is probably going to be out when it's all said and done. I don't know. He may have an option left to be able to start in the minor leagues, but I think his welcome has been overstayed and rent is up on Chas McCormick. And the reason why I say I think Chas McCormick is out is simply because you have Zack Cole, you have Jacob Melton. And I think those two guys right there alone give the Astros a solid outfield. Okay. So obviously we need a healthy Jordan. And if we have a healthy Jordan, then we need to see if there is room for him to stay there in the outfield permanently. Yes, DH him every once in a while, but we need him to definitely stay there. I have a question. Are y'all still hearing an echo? I had some issues with my audio earlier, but I think I fixed it. Can y'all let me know if the echo is gone in the chat? Earlier it was there, but I think it's gone. Sorry about the intro there. I had the sound going. So the echo is still there, yes? Or the echo is gone. So you still hear an echo. What is going on with this? Let me say something. Oh. Okay, is the echo gone? I think I fixed it. Okay, sorry about that. Thank y'all for y'all are the best. Y'all are the best. I love doing live shows because y'all fix me up. Y'all hook me up. Let me know if the echo's gone. Okay, thank you so much. Wow, that's going to be terrible audio. So if you listen to audio, I do apologize for the first couple of minutes. Susan, I love you. What echo? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But on this running list of outfielders that were out there that went out there for the Houston Astros this year, I mean, we had so many people touch the field, and I mean, it was quite a long list because of injuries. You had, get this, I'm gonna list all the outfielders: Jose Altuve, Jordan Alvarez, Zack Cole, Kennedy Corona, Pedro Leon, Chas McCormick. Well, Pedro Leon's been injured. Jacob Melton, Jake Myers, Jesus Sanchez, Cam Smith, Taylor Trammell, and Shea Whitcomb. Shea Whitcomb, I don't know where he's going to play. I don't know what he's going to do. He was our AAA Player of the Year last year. He did a lot in AAA, but he hasn't been able to stick in the majors. Will he be more of a fill-in for an infielder? I think Jacob Melton and Zack Cole are the two guys that you're going to depend on to be your backup outfielders. I don't think Chas McCormick has a spot. I don't see Jesus Sanchez coming back. Taylor Trammell, you may not need him, but you could probably hold on to him for cheap. Shea Whitcomb, definitely he's going to be around, but I don't know how big of a role he's going to play. But I think a lot of the defense and the outfield improving hinges on if Jordan Alvarez is able to play in the left field a lot. Okay. The dedication, Brett, the Rockets are playing right now on primetime NBC. I know the Rockets are playing, but I've got to talk to y'all. I can go back and watch the recording and the replay of the Rockets game. I've got to get this in so that I can go watch the Rockets later. Y'all are more important. Y'all are what is our priority. That's why we are your team every single day. No show does more, I'm telling you. People can go out there and try to imitate it, duplicate it, but they can never recreate the greatness, what is Locked On Astros. So I'm going to wrap this up, put a bow on this, because next I want to talk about veterans versus young guns. I think the people that are in have you noticed I haven't talked about Altuve? I don't want him in the outfield at all this next year. Alvarez, Cole, Melton, Myers, Smith. I would throw Trammell in there if they re-sign him. That's 6 guys in the outfield. Shea Whitcomb will bounce around. And it's just one of those things where I think those are the guys that are in, the guys that are out. Kennedy Corona, I don't really see him coming up much if he does at all, unless, God forbid, there's injuries. Jesus Sanchez is non-tendered. Chas McCormick, I believe, is gone. And there you go. Taylor Trammell may be on the way out as well. So you know what? Up next, we're going to talk about veterans versus young guns. First, we're going to hear about our friends from Monarch and from PrizePicks. Thank y'all for tuning in to Locked on Astros. I'm Htown Wheelhouse, and I'm here to talk to you about Monarch Money. Look, are you tired of your money running you? Well, you need to run your money the right way. Get 50% off with the code Locked on MLB at Monarch Money your first year when you join. Most of us can't even name all our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. 401k, savings, investments, so much more. You lose track. When you lose track, you leave money on the table. When you don't control your money, your money controls you. I can attest to it. I know that. So this is an easy to use interface. It helps you get your life together, whether you're using your laptop or your phone. You know, I love how you can review everything. I can review everything with my financial advisor. If you are doing money with your partner and y'all share this responsibility, it helps you make financial decisions together. Monarch's visual dashboards and smart tools make it so much easier. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks like this one. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarch.com and get 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com. Code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. And also, we want to talk about our friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a great place. It's nice to be right. We love PrizePicks here. And we want to tell you right now, if you download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB, you get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 bet. That's right. PrizePicks is so much fun. It makes things more exciting. It makes football more exciting. Pick more or less on player projections, whether it's CJ Stroud's not passing plays or passing plays with interceptions or Saquon Barkley's touchdowns, whatever it is. You love the quick picks. You love to make your lineups. They just added stacks. I tried that. I'm actually trying that tonight for the first time in the NBA. So far, so good. So I can report to you it's great. And you have new injury reboot. If your player leaves early, doesn't return, it won't count against you. That's nice, especially after this baseball season. So download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. All right, thank y'all for hanging in there. Thank y'all for tuning in to Locked on Astros. We're your team every day. Make sure you make us your first listen. Make sure you make Locked on Game Night your second listen, where you get local stories on a national level, local experts on a national level. Remember, also, we are your team every single day. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for taking time out of the Rockets game to hang out with me. I appreciate it. Sorry if I interrupted it. And if it's exciting and invigorating, I will find out, I guess, afterwards. So veterans versus young guns. And this kind of is just a continuation of the first segment where we talked about who's in and who's out. I think that the veterans on the field are going to be Jake Myers and Yordan Alvarez. Okay. I'll get to the one free agent that I think is worth looking at, but I think that if he comes here, it would cut into Yordan's playing time too much, but it would be a good defensive person to have if they're not wanting to play Yordan in left field too much. If they're not wanting Altuve in left field, I've got an answer for that. So the young guns, Jacob Melton, Zack Cole. I think Zack Cole and Cam Smith have extremely high ceilings. And at the time when you transition away from Jake Myers to somebody else, I think Zack Cole is that natural, is the person you naturally go towards. There are some other guys coming up through the minors that might fill those holes later on. But Cam Smith, I think, is definitely one of your young guns that is going to help. Yes, he is still considered a rookie. He is young enough to still be considered a rookie. But no, he is not one of the veterans. The great thing is he's nominated for a Gold Glove, so you absolutely love to see that. So I think with the veterans, Yordan Alvarez has got to stay healthy. Jake Myers obviously has got to stay on the field. Your other veterans would be Chas McCormick. I just don't see him having a place here. Jesus Sanchez would be considered a veteran. I think he is gone. Taylor Trammell may be here simply because the price tag makes sense for him to stay. He's a good auxiliary guy, a guy to throw off the bench, a guy that can hit home runs, a guy that has speed, can catch in the outfield. So he's not a bad option either. At the end of the day, the Astros have not really a lot of thinking to do, but they do have to make sure that they address left field and get something more consistent going on there. Because Altuve just did not cut it. I feel like this is turning into a bash Altuve session, which that is not the point. But when you have guys like Altuve out there, who's a traditional infielder, and he's slotted in the outfield, it's really, you want his glove to complement his bat, and that's just not what's happening. So on the younger side of things, basically, your veterans typically give you your baseline of where you want your young players give you your upside. And I think someone like a Jacob Melton, someone like a Zack gives you that upside. There is, again, we'll talk about the free agent here in a second. So what we need to do is we need to get guys that are going to be locked in when they get in the outfield. Okay, because the left field uncertainty, if you can mix youth with the veteran player, I think that is something that will help this team immensely. I don't think throwing Altuve out in left field is really where it is. So I see him doing a lot of DHing and playing second base. I don't see him playing left field a whole lot this next year. It's just me. Can Jake bat 300 for the next 4 years? I don't think we'll have Jake for the next 4 years. I think somebody else is going to take his place, and I don't know who or when that is. Is that Zack Cole? Is he your center fielder? Is it somebody else that you drafted that's coming up? Luis Baez has not performed up to what they have expected him to do. Kenny talked about that with us the other day. But you have some young guys that can fill that spot. I don't know how much longer Jake is here, but this next year he's serviceable. The only problem is he's got no arm strength. So you've got a dead arm in center field. You've got a cannon in right. And if Yordan's in left field, the dude can throw. I mean, Jacob Melton, if he's in left field, the dude can throw. Zack Cole's got a pretty decent arm. So you definitely have to solidify that left field position. And I think mixing veteran with young player or veteran with rookie is way better than throwing Altuve out there as a makeshift outfielder. I just don't see that working out as well. It didn't work out as well as they wanted it to. Altuve at times was decent, but there were a lot of times he just wasn't good. And that's not a knock on Altuve's ability. It's just, I mean, where he is, he's about to be 36. I mean, in baseball years, that's getting a little long in the tooth. I don't know if Jake can bat 300 for 4 years, but I think Jake can definitely bat 300 or close to it for a full season if he's healthy. I think this last year he was on his way to doing that, or had the possibility of being able to do that. So Sanchez, but Astro Wolf Craig, the problem with Sanchez is they've got to give him a contract and tender him to trade him. So but then again, does he? I mean, he is only worth about 6.8 million, about 8 million, but will he be looking for a multi-year deal if he goes into free agency? Because that's what will happen. I just tend to think that what he did with the Astros in 2025 is going to be the reason why he's not with the Astros in 2026. I mean, that's just really how I feel about that. So, but you know what? We're going to keep talking about this. If you've got Bryce Matthews, I will talk about Bryce Matthews in our next segment. I will talk about one free agent worth looking at, and let's talk about Walker Yannick, the guy who did our intro tonight. Because why? Because he is killing it in the Arizona Fall League. We'll talk about that stuff next. Well, I can tell you FanDuel is America's #1 sports book, and it's where you want to go to check out all your sports betting needs. That's right. Go to FanDuel right now. Let me tell you, NFL season is here, and it's more fun when you got stuff riding on the line. You put down $5 right now. If it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. That's right. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or you love diving into stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. You needed that last night, especially after that debacle on Monday Night Football by the Texans. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. And we want to tell you about our friends at Ruget. Why? Because they have a promo code you can use, Locked On MLB, for 15% off your first order. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stressed. I'm tired. Or it happens to everyone, right? Well, but when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Ruget comes in. Ruget.com offers fast-acting doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Ruget makes it easy to get started. You just connect with the board-certified doctor 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's all about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. Visit rugiet.com/LockedOnMLB to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/LockedOnMLB. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnMLB so that they know that we sent you. Ruget, stop making excuses and start making moves. It's a pretty smooth transition there between commercials. Thank y'all for hanging in there. I'm Htown Wheelhouse. Eric's not here. We have about 18 years experience podcasting. We have helped build together one of the largest, if not the largest, Astros podcasts on the planet. And so we thank y'all for coming along for the ride. It's great to be with y'all here every single night in the postseason, even if the Astros are not in the postseason. I mean, I still am having a hard time wrapping my mind around the Astros not being in the postseason. It's so, ugh. Then I look back over my shoulder and I see the 94-95 Rockets championship banner. Rockets need to go get another title. The Astros will be back in it next year. So Jesse asked, what about Bryce Matthews? You know, Bryce Matthews is kind of a tweener right now. Bryce Matthews, I think, has good upside, but I don't know how much stickability he has in this roster because of the logjam we have. My question is, can they up his trade value if they don't think that he's going to eventually make it? Or is he a guy of the future that they're just going to hold on to and they're going to hold back, try to manipulate a little bit of service time and get him in there when the time is right? But when is that time? Is it before Altuve retires? Because if it isn't, then Bryce Matthews will almost be 30 by the time he does retire, since he's got that long contract. Brown is not going to trade Sanchez. I know they need a left-handed bat with power to answer Rob's question or Rob's comment, but I just don't see. I know they need lefty bats, but Sanchez coming back, if you can non-tender him, send him out as a free agent, we could probably find that left-handed bat. And so we're sitting here talking about who would we go out there and get? Like, and when I think about players who I want to go get, it is definitely someone that is going to be not a defensive liability, but somebody who can definitely help this team. And if we lose Sanchez, then I think we go get one Stephen Kwan. I think Stephen Kwan is a guy that you have to go after and go look to grab, because he is a phenomenal talent out out in left field. Get this, in 2025, he posted plus 22 defensive runs saved in left field. He's an elite defensive outfielder. I know Yordan Alvarez, I talked about him being out there. I would rather Yordan and Stephen Kwan split time than not. But then again, that brings a problem in. If you don't have Altuve playing second, he's DH. Then if Kwan is not in the lineup in left field, is he DHing? Yes, there's a lot of things to think about. But if they are going to go get an outfielder, they need to get a left fielder, because I think they're set in right field with Cam. I think they're set in center field with Jake Myers. Now, somebody else who would be an interesting outfielder is Rafaela, I believe, out of Boston, plus 20 defensive runs saved. So he would be someone. He is a center fielder, though. You could, plug him in. But acquiring someone like Stephen Kwan, directly plugging him into the weakest link in their outfield lineup would help. But does that create then a problem if you're wanting to give Yordan playing time? Johnny Johnson goes, funny, I've said that before. You know what? I know you, and I know you have, and I know a couple others have, but I've just been trying to think, who could we go get that has a low enough salary? Now, Spotrac is saying that he is worth a 6-year, $111 million deal. That would be about $18.5 million per year. Are you going to want to pay Stephen Kwan $18.5 million? I mean, he's a great left-handed bat. He is a guy that can give you reps in the outfield. All he does is hit, and I mean, he could easily be that guy. Yeah, they're saying 6 years, $111 million. His salary in 2025 was $4.175 million. I believe he's a free agent this year. Will the Astros do that? But if they go out and get a guy 6 for 111 like a Stephen Kwan, then what do they do pitching wise? I know Eric talked about relief pitchers last night. He talked about the bullpen. Are there arms out there that are relief pitchers? If you need one, you only have about 30 million cap space or room to spend. So if you give 18 to Kwan, then are you going to pay? Are you going to go over another tax threshold and then also go grab another bat? Are you going to, not bat, starting pitcher? Who are you going to go get? So the Astros have some thinking to do. The construction of this roster is not the best constructed roster. I think it could improve. And I think the improvement will come by the way of subtraction. When they say addition by subtraction, unfortunately, that is what will, I believe, happen. I don't know the fate of Sanchez per se, but they wouldn't have to trade him. They're either going to offer him a contract or offer him a 1-year deal once the time comes for them to be tendered or non-tendered, and he'll take it, or they're going to offer him something and he's not going to take it. And he's going to walk and become a free agent. So the ball's in Jesus. Well, I guess it's in the Astros court, but it's also in Jesus Sanchez's court if the Astros offer him any money. It'll be interesting to see. Guys, we'll be here all off season. George Springer, congratulations, getting back to the World Series. Miles Straw, former Astro, congratulations, getting back to the World Series, or getting to the World Series. And Toronto, to my grandmother who's up in heaven watching, to all my family in Canada, congrats to y'all's Blue Jays. I'm excited for you guys. And you know what? Do me a favor. Why don't y'all go out there, beat the Dodgers? Let's take out Ohtani and the Dodgers and all their great players. This is probably going to be the more entertaining World Series that we've seen. Probably since the 2022 World Series, probably the most fun to watch. But it's still not as fun as watching the Astros. So all offseason, we'll be here talking about how we get back to the World Series. Until next time, good job. Johnny Johnson's got me. Y'all have a good one. I'm Htown Wheelhouse for myself and everybody here at Locked On Astros. Make us your first listen. Remember, we're your team every day. Go Astros. thank you so much for not crucifying me over the audio faux I had my mic echo. Want to know a little secret? I was karaoke in the past.